This is McLeod Insights, where we feature conversations with longtime transportation industry veterans who are now team members at McLeod Software. Our goal is to support and empower our customers by helping them learn about proven ideas and best practices that will have a positive impact on how they run their companies. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast on AI and trucking. But today we're going to take a perspective of a brokerage. We aim to discuss and discover use cases through these podcasts on AI. Joining us, as always, is Dr. Sujit Kumar, one of our data scientists here at McLeod. And our special guest, Mike Trattina, is our power broker product manager. He will certainly help engage in the conversation specifically around the brokerage perspective. The three of us probably can talk about AI for a long time, but today we aim to keep this short. So with that, welcome, Mike, to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me here.
And Sajid, as always, welcome back. And I guess I always like to ask you, any big news in AI in the last couple of months?
Yeah, great to be back here. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening in. There are a lot of things happening in AI space, tech space in general. The one that I would just like to mention here is that, or maybe two. One is on the good side, the other is on the maybe a little bit discouragement side. The I'll start with the good one. Um Apple recently, during their worldwide developer conference, they announced that they're gonna collaborate with OpenAI. So they're late to the game, but they're catching up, and they are going to get into collaboration and use large language models with their apps and their functionality like Series and stuff. So even though they're late, they're under pressure from other big names, so that and they are finally catching up to that game. The a little bit discouraging news would be, I would say, McDonald's. They had this collaboration with IBM. They were using the IBM AI tool for drive-through ordering. They are ending it, I think, end of July this year. So they had quite a bit of wrong orders, things like that going on. So they are going away with that collaboration.
So that's interesting, Sajid, especially the aspect of Apple and OpenAI collaborating. Um, but let's get into the topic today. Let's talk AI from a brokerage stance. Mike, we had Tiffany Gykes on our last podcast. It was very interesting to hear her view from a carrier side. As a product manager for Power Broker, this must be a very exciting time to ultimately manage the product. What are you most excited about in this AI generation?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the dawning of a new age in a lot of ways, right? AI opens the doors to so many opportunities, and really, I think if it does half of what we think it can, this tech will just enable our brokerage customers to work smarter and really just focus in on that revenue generating activity. Cut out some of the mundane day to day and really let these guys do what they do best and kind of find the freight, cover the loads, and you grow their operations.
Yeah.
I'm also pretty optimistic that there's always been a problem in the industry, just in logistics as a whole, with work-life balance. I mean, the trucks are always rolling. You're typically on call, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity out here that we haven't really tapped into to help people just get a little bit more out of working in the industry, right? Yeah. And making life easier for them and improving that overall experience for their customer and really their carriers as well, just by making things run so much smoother and leveraging AI to help handle that low-hanging fruit that just gets in the way of doing business time and time again. It's kind of funny. I look back to really when I got back into the industry forever ago. and started as a logistics coordinator. So picking up a phone, calling drivers every couple hours just to see where they were, pulling out the Atlas, the old Rand McNally, to see where they were, running mileage, and making sure they were on time. And over the past decade or so, with just the cell phone tracking or the GPS integrations that it seems like everyone has now, you've almost not necessarily eliminated that role, but you have really changed the dynamic of how it comes to manage your track and trace experience. I think AI is going to give us that capability and more just across that life cycle of a load, and really, really shift how brokers do what they do best.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of the mundane, focus on the value add, where their secret sauce is. That's awesome. And we would all love a better work-life balance, especially those that have, run the gamuts within logistics and brokerage operations. If you had to list 3, maybe it's 4 of the biggest use cases that you think AI will deliver here in the near future for our brokerages, what are they? What are those problems that they will be solving with AI?
It's kind of a hard question to answer, right? Because I think the opportunities are really, really kind of boundless. This technology is moving so fast and getting better and better every day that, it's hard to say where it's going to go and what it can do. But, looking more over, not so far over the horizon, but looking kind of closer to what we have today, I'd say really it comes down to probably just helping to provide the right information, right? Using those data-driven insights to allow brokers to kind of get out of the firefighting mode and kind of look up and look ahead, and work smarter, trying to not only choose the loads that they cover, but having information of whether it's a good fit for them right now, whether it's a good fit for them next week, and just putting the information in the hands where typically someone would have to be in the industry 20 years or so to know the ins and outs, and really kind of sharing that knowledge base across board, and making sure that those the new entrants into the industry are as dangerous as the old dogs that have been doing it for a while. I really do think it'll help to level the playing field and just allow brokers to just operate more effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really do see it as an opportunity, and it's pretty paramount to the industry right now, just having that ability to scale your operation, right? I need to get more revenue per broker. I need to find more freight, just given, the trucking economy where it is right now. And AI will, give them the ability to kind of, like you said, get rid of the mundane, cut out some of these non-essential tasks, and allow them to really, just make the right decisions, right? Have information brought back to them, and fall into that kind of that decision support model of, bring me the important information that I need to know, give me the items that I need to action, and don't make me sift through, 5,000 emails a day to get to the 10 that I really care about. How can you leverage that tool to really just cut the noise and really focus in on the signal? That's where I see AI really, really starting to take off, whether it's the automation that we see from maybe like a quote automation for quoting freight that comes in, quoting the right loads that come in based on your network and based on your mix, or even taking it kind of a step further and even providing, some general level updates, whether it's location level updates or just verifying some of the, some of that day-to-day items on a load. Could a pickup number or a contact name or whatever that is. I really do think there's an opportunity that you can really let these guys do more with the time they have in the day. And I'm excited to see as we continue to kind of build out the capability through this tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Is very interesting. You mentioned a bunch there, and it's tough to say, okay, well, which one do we jump into right now? But one that I know we've talked about internally quite a bit, one that your new web interface has accelerated the way that we do it without AI, is quoting. How do you think, or maybe how can you jump into the details around how we quote better, faster, more efficient with AI as opposed to the traditional way of quoting freight?
So AI really improves both the speed and the accuracy of that quote entry experience, right? Uh, it gives you the ability through our tools and others to grab the right information from an email, scan it in, and bring quotes into the system so that you can actually rate them accordingly and try and find those right opportunities based on where you are trying to move trucks in the specific market. It also it improves your secure ratio because you don't have to wait on a person to see the email to find
Yep.
what's coming in and actually put a response out there. Time to market is everything, and if I can have the system go in, create a quote, find the rate, push it back to the customer before anyone else can get to it, that's a competitive edge that allows you to secure more business. And as the tool expands, to let you really focus in on that right business, right? Finding the right loads to come through and targeting what you want to go after so that you can communicate more effectively with your customer. You can give them better opportunities. And at the end of the day, you can just secure more freight.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can you imagine the work-life balance when I walk in the door and freight's already been booked for me through an AI agent, and I'm not starting all over again the second I come in the door as a broker? That would be amazing. So, G, let's bring you into this conversation. First, how do you think, AI and yourself and your skill set as a data scientist here can assist Mike with delivering that kind of view of quote automation and decision support for our brokers?
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot of potential, and yeah, like Doug, you said, I would love to talk more about a lot of use cases that Mike was talking about, but particularly within the quote arena, there are a couple of touch points that would have to, pay attention to, right? Location, what lane you want to haul, what is your network, and what type of unit, and then what is the rate for that unit for those lanes historically and moving forward. So there is forecasting piece, there is location master database, the lane history, or within your network, or within your historic network, basically, right? So it touches a lot of data, and when you are intending to do any type of data analytics prediction or coding, like in this case, the data quality as well as quantity matters, right?
Yep.
And we are getting into those initiatives at McLeod already, so that we are cleaning up the distances or the location databases, the historic location master tables that have been used within our customers' databases. Those are being standardized, or we are at least talking about those being standardized. And then the rates, there are fake load boards, right? Fake loads within the load boards. That needs to be cleaned up. Some rates are spot rates, some loads are contract rates. So we need to distinguish between all those different rates. How are they historically being hauled? Because all of that goes into quoting mechanism.
Yep.
Before we automate every bit and pieces of these, we need to pay attention to the quality and the amount of data we gather, we get from the customers. We're looking into that so that we can build these predictive models. And uh, recently, with the invent of generative AI, we are able to extract these locations or rates or other entities within the documents, like email or rate confirmation, whatever document you use, bill of lading. We're able to extract those information, right?
Yep.
So it helps faster processing of these documents so that we can extract the right information, touch on the right APIs, and grab the right rate or right distances, whatever it takes to quote the accurate amount. And then, there's speed to delivery on sending back the code to the customers.
This is very interesting, Shajit. We keep talking about quoting and but there's so many other use cases, and Mike did a great job discussing several of those. Which one would you want to highlight, just from a data science perspective, that you think we like to bring to our customers or our brokers?
Sure. Recently I've been focusing more and more on automation from conceptual side of things. I used to think data science AI is more about the complex models, the deep learning models and whatnot, right? But to be impactful for our customers, it doesn't have to be super complex. Sometimes the most impactful models are simpler models, simple analytics, simple insights, right? So when we're thinking about these data science, and to piggyback on some of the items that Mike mentioned earlier, they are in a pipeline, right? The predictive model that predicts the rate or weather or traffic patterns in the lanes that you're trying to haul, there is this component of prediction with some confidence. We are getting better and better with these predictions, right? Because we're getting more quality data, we're getting more volumes of data. So it is improving over time. And we are using those predictive models to help our customers make decisions faster or even make decisions at some point, right? And think about how many decisions that the users are taking in a day, right? I think the general consensus is we as a human being are taking about 33 or 35,000 decisions in a day. And the more decision making easiness that we can create to our customers, they can act faster, they can act efficient, and they can focus on more strategic tasks
Yep.
because we help them make better decision, more accurate decision, or help them decide at all, right? And the third piece is the automation, right? So you go from predicting some event to helping the customers decide on what to do and then automating. And like Mike mentioned earlier, automating these mundane tasks that's being done over and over day by day, right? So any project, any use case that you can think about where you can either predict, help decide on a particular use case, or automate that piece at all, I think there are a lot of those potentials.
Very interesting. Mike, thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, you talked a little bit about the predictive analytics, and from a rate analysis perspective, that's huge, right? Because the one thing I can't compete with AI on is just tracking and managing those massive volumes of rate sheets and datas and historical trends. And while there's a cyclical nature to just trucking in general, you were able to really dig deeper and see, how does this load cover on a Thursday at noon versus a Friday at 4? How do we try and leverage some of those more nuanced factors into some of the rate analytics that we provide? How do you scrub out some of the noise for, say, southeastern rates that spike because there's a hurricane in a specific season that threw things out of whack? I think some of that information is not readily available to a lot of people today, and you guys have that ability to really kind of dig in and really dig deep and see what's going through. And it goes back to that decision support, right? This is where it starts to get
Oh,
confidence in the information that comes back from a predictive rate standpoint to say, here's what you should pay, and this is what the reason why is a little bit behind it, so that you're giving your team the best information to make the best purchase decision, or potentially not try and chase down a load you're just going to lose money on. So the getting ahead of a problem and letting the brokerage customers that we have kind of pick their head up and look ahead, be forward thinking. It's really going to be one of the biggest shifts that I think we see come from this tool as a whole.
absolutely. Yeah, we did look into some of the, what time of the day the load is being picked up. That matters. What day of the week the load is being picked up, that matters for the rate, right? We looked at some of the commodities, the production of those commodities or the harvest of those commodities. When is that happening and where is that happening? That matters to the rate, right? And
Yeah.
if a human were to make decisions on how much to code for that, it's going to be some time. It's going to be very um, burdensome for human to decide. Looking at historic data, you got to look into multiple platforms, things like that. But with AI, you just plug in a couple of these wires, and it is able to predict what it should look like tomorrow versus today, right?
Yeah, you're giving me, lane insights that would take 10 years to develop, to know what we're getting into. And it really puts you in a position to say, all right, we need to start trying to find some loads into a certain market where the rates are going to start bumping up, and making sure that we're landing capacity where it matters. And this can happen both from a asset and a brokerage perspective,
Yeah.
so that you can manage that relationship with your carriers to get them into market to where they're really able to get a good load out. And because it's brokerage, take your split off the take your split off the top.
Yeah, it's amazing. I never heard that number before, Sajit. 35,000, is it 35,000
Yeah, I saw
decisions in a day?
33 to 35,000 decisions a day.
No wonder we feel tired. So, uh, as we move past this quoting and bidding, I think this is going to be huge. The impact to organizations, both on the brokerage and carrier side, as Mike said. Um, us as McLeod, we're here to deliver product and meaningful product to our customers and make it easier for the users to use it. User experience is so important. Mike, have you really thought about how AI will change our user experiences in the future?
Yeah, and you know, AI won't replace people, not overnight, right? Honestly, I don't even expect that to really kind of be the end goal for what we're trying to get through. So we're really thinking about our customers and how they're operating with the software that we use. And from a product perspective, in the cloud, it really means accelerating our innovation curve and trying to get the right features ready and up at the time that our customers really need them. We plan on and have started actually leveraging similar tools as our customers to get into some of the predictive analytics of what's going to be coming in the market, to make sure that we've got a product line that's strong, beefed up, and ready to support, and to put them in a position to be as successful as possible for what comes through. That's really from the planning perspective. AI from a development standpoint has been a monumental shift in our ability to not only develop new products, but to manage the quality of what we create using automated testing and having these models out there that help us to really jump in and dig down into the nitty gritty of everything that we do. It's been a game changer for us from the ability to just kind of meet speed to market and get the products out that we really want to focus on. Um, it it's got to be one of these tools that I always kind of think of, back in the day, if I wanted to if I had to look something up, right, I would have to either go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System to try and find out where a book was, or try and use the glossary in a back, and now it's a, you know, 30-second search
Yeah.
on Google, and that's changed the way that we access information, and I think AI is going to change the way that we make decisions, and it's going to change the way that we target, and we target the right things so that we're really hitting the mark, and we're doing what we need to do to be successful.
Yes, it's interesting you say AI is not replacing jobs, more so accelerating current employees, and it's accelerating the way we deliver value to our customers. Sujit, what's your view on this globally, not just in trucking or brokerages? Will AI replace jobs, or what's it going to do?
Yeah, so I think there are mixed up views on whether AI is going to replace jobs or not. If it is going to replace jobs totally, it's going to be a long time, not like immediate replacement. For time being, 5 year, 10 year down the line, it's going to be helping people do better at their job, whatever they are doing, mundane tasks. It's going to help them complete those faster, making them more productive and freeing them time to focus on more strategic tasks or relationship building tasks, right? Um, I think Google's CEO said a few months back that the folks that are at the highest risk would be knowledge workers, developers, and so on, that would be most likely replaceable by AI first, right? So it is less likely that it's going to touch other side of the job market in immediate near future. But for time being, with tools like generative AI and the new shiny AI stuff, I think it's going to be helping um, us do the work faster and make us more efficient.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mike, same question to you. I know you said AI is not replacing jobs, but how do you see it playing out in the brokerage space and accelerating employees?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about that whole track and trace model, right? The old logistics coordinator model of picking up a phone and dialing every couple hours to talk to a guy. That role shifted, right? It moved away from trying to call and get a hold of somebody and leave the voicemails and try and get the answers that you need, and it became more about identifying and addressing the problems, from an exception management perspective. I see AI in the exact same manner of, it's going to remove some of the responsibilities that some of the frontline employees may have, yes, but it's going to also give them the insights that they need to move up and almost elevate to that next tier, that next level, and start working on more actionable, the harder pieces to get to, because they've got the access to the information that will make them more dangerous and allow people to grow quicker than they probably do today. Um, I really see this as a positive. I don't see it as a risk. And Sujit, to your
Yeah.
point, from a development standpoint, right? A developer does more than just write code, right? The challenges that they have on that side are just like the challenges we'd see in in the logistics space of constantly providing updates for things that people got 20 minutes ago, or trying to grab that one piece of information and make sure my load's going to pick up on time, and allow them to really just let the information that they need to action come to them. They still have a body in the seat that's making the judgment call of what needs to be done, what the right move is. We're just giving them access to all the tools to be successful.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about tools, last time we talked about the role that we here at McLeod play in serving value to our customers. As of today, our general view is that McLeod is taking a very pragmatic approach, both creating utilities for our customers, but also enabling our partners to serve the customers better. Mike, thoughts on where partners will serve our customers as we look forward, especially in this AI space?
Sure. Yeah. I've said since I was a customer that McLeod's greatest strength is operating as the strong foundation that you can build your operation on, right? Um, there are plenty of vendors that we partner with that spend all of their day working on one piece, and they're the best at what they do.
Yeah.
I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I do want to make sure that I can plug in and use the value add that they have. AI, I think, it's going to cover every angle that we can touch, and it to me is going to start somewhat small, kind of what we've already talked about. Some of what like Parade's doing with how to create quotes and to manage that quote experience within the system. And I think it's going to help us deal with one of the biggest issues we see right now with fraud. Um, I get there's a cat and mouse game to it, and maybe
Yeah.
AI is probably going to be used on the other side to create more challenges. But I really see the analytic tools that it can provide helping us to get ahead of some of these double brokerages, the load thefts, and all the challenges we see. Partnering with Highway is an example for some of the really cool things that they're doing around validation and making sure that the contacts that we're reaching out to that we may not have a developed relationship with are sound, and that
Yeah.
we're mitigating our risk. And I just see every player in the space start coming through. And again, the modularity that McLeod provides means we're in a prime position to take the best and give it to our customers.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, team, we aim to be short and sweet. Hopefully, we were today. This concludes our allotted time in this discussion. But as always, great talking with you guys. I'm sure we'll be talking a bunch off camera. Mike and Sajit, thank you for joining us today. For those watching, we are in this AI journey together. Stay tuned for our next podcast. We are doing these monthly leading up through the UC. And remember, if you want to join the conversation live, talk to myself, Sajit, and Mike. We have a great opportunity in September every single year. Come join us at McLeod UC. Looking forward to seeing you there. Looking forward to carrying on the conversation. Thank you guys for joining us today. This concludes for today. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the invite.